The world is telling you to declutter, but your mind just can't seem to get on board. You have all these emotions that come up like, I might need it. I might use it someday. I spend so much money on that. I will get around to using it, I promise. Whether we know it or not, we have attached memories to items, and when we go to declutter, we are stopped in our tracks, and we're hit a roadblock of emotions, and we don't know what to do about it. In this live stream, we are going to be talking about declutter or keep, the emotional dilemma of memorabilia. Hi. Welcome. Please write a comment down below where you're watching from. I'd love to see where everyone is from. I am Emily Steeman with Organized Mess Expert, your professional organizer, helping you find the calm in the chaos. A little bit about me. I grew up in a large family. I'm from Minnesota, and I always had a knack for organizing. I married the love of my life 2.5 years ago, and we have a beautiful daughter, Emma. All right. I am the Organized Mess Expert, helping you find the calm in the chaos. Our mission is to make every client happy with the progress they have made in their organizing journey. This is key, organizing journey. Remember that organizing is a journey, not a destination, right? It's going to take time to get to where you want to be, and each phase of life will be different. You might be like, yes, I finally completed, I have everything organized and decluttered, but you know what? We keep on bringing things into our home. When we keep on bringing things into our home, we're going to have to keep decluttering. So, what makes Organized Mess Expert different from other professional organizers? Well, I help you discover your organizing personality and teach you how it affects the way you organize. So, the way that you organize something and it makes sense in your brain, it's going to be different from how I organize and how my next client organizes. So we talk about whether you're a visual or a hidden organizer or a macro organizer or a micro organizer. All right, at any point, if you can leave questions down below, I'd love to answer them. And I will say that there is, hello Danny in Princeton. Hello, Carrie. I am jumping back and forth I had some technical difficulties. So let's see. All right, so our topic today, again, is declutter or keep, the emotional dilemma of memorabilia. All right, decluttering is a huge topic right now. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of the home edit in Walmart, the clear bins, the rainbow order, aesthetically pleasing, right? A few years ago, it was Marie Kondo, everything, take everything out, pile it on your bed. Right? And maybe you have done or tried some of these things, right? And decluttering seems to be pretty easy when it's just junk. But what happens when you actually have a memory that's attached to this item? Maybe it's a picture drawn by your child and you don't really want to get rid of it. You can't really tell what it is, but you still don't want to get rid of it. Maybe you have a hard time parting with your baby's clothes or toys. There's a lot of emotions when it comes to decluttering. So today we're going to be talking about the emotions that keepsakes and memorabilia bring up, why it's so hard to part with them, how to start decluttering, and how to store keepsakes. So why is it so hard to part with things. Even things that drive us crazy, that clutter up our home and space and our mind, we have attached meaning to things. All right, this is, so, excuse me, I'm jumping back and forth. The outfit that your baby you grew out of, it reminds you that your baby is growing up and they'll never be that size again. And that favor that you got from a friend's wedding, little bubbles, are you really ever going to use that? Probably not. But it reminds you of your friend and the wonderful times you spent together. So things remind us of people and places. They are not people and places. All right. So I have a question for you. If your house was on fire, is there anything that you would grab on your way out the door? All right. If your house was on fire, is there anything you would grab on your way out the door? Let me tell you a story. When I was 13 years old, our family's house actually did catch on fire. And even though everything, the structure of the house was fine, everything inside the house was ruined. If you're in your house, like literally look around, okay? Take a look around. Everything was ruined. All of our clothes, all of our toys, all of our furniture, all of the memorabilia stuff that we had down in the basement, all of the videotapes and the VHS tapes. And that's everything was gone. So everything in the house was ruined. But my mom and my sister were the only people who were in the house, and my mom just grabbed my sister and grabbed the phone. And she only grabbed the phone because it was literally right on her way out the door, which practically never happens, right? How often are you leaving to go someplace and you're like, where did I put my phone? All right, so everything in the house was ruined, but everything that was most important, the lives of our family, the living beings, we were safe. We were alive. If it happened at a different time of day, it could have been a lot different story. So one of the things that we adopted as a family that we would say is, it's just stuff. When we think about things that we lost, and it's like, oh, that game, didn't we have that game that we would play? Oh, it was lost in the fire. It's just stuff. It was a reminder to us that what's most important are our family members, are the loved ones, the people around us. So it's just stuff became our motto. So coming back to the question, if your house was on fire, what would you grab on the way out the door? Did you change your answer? All right, Carrie says, my kids. And a bag, awesome, that you prep. Danny says, that's the only thing I can't replace. Oh, he's talking about his journal, I think. All right. Let's go back. So what are the big emotions that block us from decluttering? And how can we work through them? All right. I just want to throw out a disclaimer here. When I talk about decluttering, okay, I'm talking in general. I'm not telling you to get rid of everything. I'm not telling you to just, throw out all of your heirlooms and your memories and your photos and everything. I'm just saying to keep in mind and think about how much you're saving and if you're actually using the items that you're saving. Okay? I don't want you to come back to me in like 2 weeks or a month or whatever and be like, you told me to get rid of all my stuff. No, that's not what I'm saying. All right? So if you have too much sentimental clutter, the specialness of each item is diluted. We're going to keep on coming back to this. This is one of the main points I want to pound into you tonight, okay? So if you went on a trip and you collect, I don't know, whatever you collect, right? Let's say keychains. Well, do you really need 100 keychains to document one trip? Probably not. Okay. The specialness of each item, because you have so many, is diluted. Here's another example. Maybe for your wedding, instead of keeping literally all of your flower arrangements, maybe just keep one arrangement of flowers, right? Or figure out different ways to use that instead of like just having a bouquet. That's the word I'm looking for. A bouquet of flowers. You can rearrange and make a wreath or whatever. We'll be creative. All right. So the first big emotion that comes up is guilt. Now, for each of these emotions, I'm going to talk about what they sound like. So either you say it out loud or you're thinking it in your mind, okay? So guilt sounds like it was a gift. You can't get rid of a gift. I spent a lot of money on that. Well, it still works. I should use it. Well, remember, you will still remember the person who gifted it. All right. The cool thing is, like, I had a friend, she's still my friend, move away when I was 12, right? And she gave me as a departing gift a little square, little, I don't remember what it was. It had a little saying on it. And I kept it in my memories bin, which we'll talk about later, for 15 years. And finally I realized this isn't doing me any good. I still remember my friend who gave it to me, even though we don't see each other, even though I don't even see the item that she gave me because it was tucked away in a box. All right? So you'll still remember the person who gifted the item. The money is already spent. You can't get back the money. And if you haven't used it, will you actually use it? And the thing with guilt is when we look at this item, we feel this, even if we don't realize that we're feeling guilt in the way that we're thinking to ourselves, oh, I'm a money waster, right? You have mental clutter, okay? And you don't need that. So if you realize that something is guilting you to think one of these things, maybe consider getting rid of it, okay? So the second big emotion is sadness or grief, all right? What this sounds like is it was a gift from a loved one who passed away. This photo reminds me of a time that I want to return to. And these emotions are not necessarily bad. You will experience real grief when parting with things that make you feel worthy and loved. But would you rather the grief you will experience when you declutter or the frustration that comes when looking at the clutter? Like we talked about with guilt, every time you look at the item, you're reminded of how much money you spent on that. And I just never have time to work on that. And, this is, you just have so much frustration and mental clutter when you look at things. All right. Third one, love and fondness. What does it sound like? Remember when we fill in the blank. Remember when you were so small, you're getting so big. All right. Again, love and fondness, obviously not a bad emotion, but it does lead to other negative emotions like sadness and grief or other things. And to work through this, have someone who will listen to your stories and who can share in your memories. Oftentimes, after you talk about the memory, you're able to pass on the item, whatever that may be. Maybe it's a award that you got through 4-H or something like that, right? You want to share that memory with a loved one, and then you can pass on the big trophy that is sitting in a box. Yes, honey, I'm talking to you. The fourth emotion we're going to talk about is overwhelm. This sounds like, I can't do this. I have too much stuff. All right. This is one of the main emotions when decluttering, and it usually is correlating with either grief or guilt a lot of times, right? So you're all gung-ho, you're gonna Marie Kondo your closet or whatever, and you're gonna pull everything out, and then you start piling things up, and then pretty soon everything's all over the place and it's so overwhelming, and you realize how much stuff you actually have and you can't do it anymore. So I want you to remember to start small and start slow. All right. Starting with one task and working on one thing at a time will help you overcome overwhelm. All right. Again, if you have any questions, leave a comment below. I will do my best to jump back and forth to get to them. All right. The fifth one is frustration. Okay. Why doesn't my spouse help or care? Why am I like this? Why do I waste so much money? Right? We can get really upset and mad at ourselves. Remember that your spouse is on a journey with you. Like, they're on their own journey. They won't necessarily be ready to part with the item as soon as you think that they should. And remember the emotions that we just talked about, and the two next emotions. These are all emotions that your roommate, your family will be experiencing as well. So take time to be their listening ear. All right, take time so that you can help each other out. Remember your feelings when you are shopping, and ask yourself if you really need whatever item you are going to want to buy. Now, we'll talk more about this in a little bit. So I'm going to move on. The sixth emotion is anxiety. Someday I'm going to use it. Someday I will use it. But what if I give it away and I will need it later, right? So I want you to think on truth. All right, think about the truth. Will you actually use it? And can you replace it easily? My good rule is $20. If you can replace it for $20 or less, you can get rid of it, because You don't need it. Okay? It's just cluttering up your life. Fantasy. Sounds like, oh, I always wanted to do this. I can't give it away. I spent too much money on it. All right. Perhaps you wanted to do a particular hobby and you bought all the stuff for this hobby and only to realize that you don't like this hobby or you actually don't have time to do this hobby. So you pack it away thinking that someday you'll get to it. And later down the road, you actually realize that it's taking up space. And you're probably never going to get to it. All right. So for me, that was sewing. I sewed a lot in high school. I even brought my sewing machine and literally all of my big, huge bin of fabric to college with me. Did I sew much there? No, but I did have it. So, but I realized last year, I was like getting ready for my baby to come. And I was like, am I actually ever going to use this huge bin of upholstery fabric that's already pre-cut to be what the projects I was working on? Like literally pre-cut. I couldn't make anything else out of it. No, I wasn't going to use it. So what you need to ask yourself is it worth keeping to maybe someday use it? Or should you find someone who has the time and desire to work on that hobby? All right. Whew, we just made it through 7 emotions. So what should you do with these emotions? First, you need to stop and allow yourself time to feel the emotions. All right? Feeling the emotions is not a bad thing. It's when you dwell on them and you let them control what you do. Feeling guilty for getting rid of something that you're never going to use, but you spent so much money on it, so you can't get rid of it. You have to actually use it. Like here, I actually have a very realistic thing to show you. I got this yoga mat with the best intentions. Don't we all? Have I used this? 5 times have I used this. Maybe less. I don't need this yoga mat. Okay? So the next time I go to I will probably go put it in my bin to declutter right after this, but I won't do that now. So, but honestly, I have the best intentions. Don't we all? To have the best intentions of doing stuff, but we're not going to use it. We need to let it go because it's every time I see that yoga mat, I'm like, wow, I got that a year and a half ago, and I've literally used it 3 to 5 times. Not that much. So allow yourself to feel the emotions and to grieve, to do the process. Take note of your feelings physically or mentally. So what this may look like is, let me use this example, right? I had another example, but this one is better. Do I do yoga? Clearly, I do not. Okay, so when I see at the store, oh my goodness, I'm pretty sure I got this from the dollar spot, like $3, right? And I'm like, I need that. I need this workout equipment because if I have the workout equipment, I'm going to work out, right? Well, it's going on 2 years since I got this. Probably not. So when I'm at the store, I'm going to think to myself, ooh, there's a yoga mat, or ooh, there's like, what are they called? Weightlifter dumbbell things, right? See, I have no idea. I don't lift weights. So they're really cheap and I should get them because I'll use them. No, I will not. All right. So anyway, write down and take note of what you learned from your emotions. All right. Either physically in an actual journal or a notebook so that you, like, if you need to remember it, write it down. Or like I do, which I probably should honestly write it down because sometimes I forget. So, or just mentally store it in your mind and be like, oh, right. I don't wear this color. So when I'm shopping for my new closet, don't get this color of clothing. Right? All right. So remember that if you let negative emotions linger in your mind, they will clutter up your mind, causing you more stress and making everything harder. So how do you overcome these emotions? The first step is to take action. All right. The more you declutter, the easier it gets. It's like muscles. If I had any, I would, like, the more you work out, right, the easier it'll get. And, the bigger muscles you'll get, right? The more you declutter, the easier it gets. It's a habit. It's a lifestyle. So start small and start slow. Don't try to tackle everything in one weekend. Start small, and that could look like your dresser. It could even be just the junk drawer. All right. And lastly, be ready for the emotions. Now, the title of this is Declutter or Keep the Emotional Dilemma of Memorabilia. But I've been talking not just about memorabilia, and that's because every item has some sort of emotional attachment to it. So you can't just go into you're decluttering the kitchen and this isn't the photos or keepsakes. It won't matter. I'm not gonna have the frustration or the overwhelm or the grief or the guilt. Yeah, you probably might. All right. So be ready for them. Be ready to take note of what you can learn from them and then move on. All right. I want to share this amazing resource with you. It's called Keep the Memories, Lose the Stuff. Declutter, Downsize, and Move Forward with Your Life by Matt Paxton. So it's an amazing book. Highly, highly recommend. All right, moving on. How to start. The steps to tackle the clutter. All right, we're going to get going, right? Now, this is broad over basically any organization project, anything, but we're going to kind of try to focus on keepsakes and memorabilia, right? So you're going to gather all your memorabilia. What exactly is memorabilia? Well, that could be photos, letters, little trinkets that you got from trips or trinkets that you've got from someone. It could also be heirlooms and other things that have very much a lot of sentimental value. So now remember, before we start, keep this in mind. Remember, the key here is if you have too much sentimental clutter, the specialness of each item is diluted. All right. So the first step is to gather everything into one place. as you sort your memories, you're grouping them together, and it will help you visualize how much you're actually keeping. And the second one is sorting them into categories. And I recommend 2 different types of categories. So you're going to sort by time of your life, and then underneath each time frame, right, you're going to sort by type. All right, so that would look like, for me, let's say an example would be, I have a pile of childhood memories, and then I have a pile of high school, a pile for college, and then a pile for like after college and like mommy stuff, right? So then I'm going to sort it by photos, in my childhood photos, childhood letters and notes from my mom, from my friends, from my grandparents, and childhood items, right? So as you're spreading these out, you're going to label them. And then, yeah, you just keep on going through all of these, and your categories will most likely be different from mine. I'm just giving you some ideas. All right. Then you're going to start with what's easy. You're going to look out, and you'll have stacks. Make sure to label so you don't forget what kind of stacks they are. You're going to start with something easy, something that has a little pile to it, right? And you're going to start sorting. What does sorting mean? Save, offload, relocate, and trash. All right. So save is put aside the items that you're going to save. Duh. Okay. So each of these categories you're going to pick up and you're going to put into one of these spots. You're going to save it. You're going to offload it, which is anything that you're going to try to sell or donate. You're going to relocate it if it's like, oh, well, actually, this ring that I got from my grandparents, I should probably wear it. So let me relocate it to the bathroom where I put on my jewelry. Okay. And then obviously trash. Anything that's there, like maybe your childhood pictures. And unless you're going to be a really famous artist, which you may know that by now, but if you don't, I don't know. Maybe consider trashing those art pieces that are just scribbles, unless you have a very definite memory to them. Okay? All right. So then you're going to gather all your memories in one place. You're going to categorize them. You're going to start with something easy, and you're going to start sorting. Save, offload, relocate, and trash. And then you're going to enjoy the process. Find someone to come and sit with you. All right, talk about and relive the pleasant memories. And remember that memories don't go away just because items do. You will still remember your family and friends without certain items. All right, and then finally compromise on other people's stuff. All right. Again, remember that your family is dealing with these emotions as well. Their timeline is different from yours, so give them grace. All right. So how do we store keepsakes? All right. This is a tips. Keep this in, again, what not to do. Don't just go throw everything away because I told you to. Okay. Please don't. So you're going to limit space and storage for keepsakes. So what might this look like? So let's say we're talking about memorabilia. Let's talk about kids' memorabilia, right? You're a parent. You want to keep all of the pictures that they drew and, their little handprint or their footprint or their cheek print, whatever you do. So there's lots of ways to do this, right? There's the box. You can just throw everything in a box. It's great. You can have like a small filing box, like upright box, and then you have like tabs for each box, or like for each year, you can have like a file folder for each year, and then you just put in. And the nice thing about that is you have limited storage. You have to just keep the things that mean the most to you. All right. And then my personal favorite is the memory binder. I call this the scrapbook for the lazy person. All right. This is my favorite way to keep memories. And I'll show you just briefly a little bit about what's in here. So I have a cover. And then this is all the memories I have with my husband, Nathan, all throughout dating and engagement and marriage. And so we have our wedding card, and these are really cool because they are, I think they're like recipe card, page protector things, but they fit, look at that, they fit postcards really nicely. All right, and then I just literally hole punch cards. Did you know you could do that? And just put them in here, okay? You can hole punch things. You don't even need page protectors. And then I have page protectors to hold the things I don't want to like hole punch. But the nice thing about this is it's super easy to look through, right? Look at this. Now, it would be a lot easier if I was like actually having it down. But you get my drift, right? It's super easy to look through. And when I want to look through it, I have it there. I don't have to be digging through boxes. Okay. I did that because I was like, oh, I really want a scrapbook, but I'm going to just do this kind of like a prep to scrapbooking. Let me tell you, there ain't no way that future Emily is going to try to put this into an actual scrapbook. This is my lazy person scrapbook. So you're welcome. All right. I really hope you could see. Oh, I didn't switch over the thing. All right. So you're going to then display items. So if you have items that from a grandparent or whatever, consider displaying it so you can remember them and tell others your story. So when it doesn't, so when other people come over, you'd be like, wow, what is that? Oh, well, that's my grandpa's fill in the blank. And you can tell other people their story. All right. Take a photo of larger items that you don't want anymore. So maybe you inherited this great big huge dresser and it doesn't fit in your space and you don't like it and no one else in your family wants it. Well, then pass it on to someone who wants it. That's a later one. But take a photo of it and write down, oh, this is from fill in the blank. Okay. Then another rule is save one. Just save one item. Having the rule of only saving one item for an event or a trip will help decrease the clutter in your keepsake pile. And pictures are a good way to go because they don't take up a lot of space. Okay. So, and then as we talked about before, pass along things that you don't need. That's a great way to store keepsakes and stuff, right? All right. So the key lessons here is this. It's just stuff. All right. And my computer's being really slow, so I apologize. We attach memories and meaning to objects. But remember, it is just stuff. All right. Learn from the emotions. Take note of your emotions and strive to grow and learn from them. And remember, too much sentimental clutter causes the specialness of each item to decrease. I hope you really enjoyed Declutter or Keep, the Emotional Dilemma. If you still need help, you're in luck. I am your declutter coach and personal professional organizer. You can find out more information at organizedmessexpert.com. And with that, I'm going to jump to the chat and see if there's any other questions that I can answer. Danny says that he trashed a bunch of old school binders last week. Good for you, Danny. Okay. Hi, Emily. Nice name. All right. Wait. Hi, Anne. Yes. I hope this was helpful for you. And I am so thankful that you all could join me today. And I will see you guys in the next video. Be sure to subscribe. Bye, friends.